Welcome everyone so much to join us for our second official community themed day ShiftED session. We just got out of a really phenomenal session. The first one was so fantastic, and I know that this one is going to be as well. So we are so pleased to have all of you join us here for what I think is going to be a really fantastic, more kind of active session, which will be really nice. So just a couple of pieces of housekeeping before we get started. Again, reminder, we are recording these sessions. So if you would prefer not to be recorded, this is your chance to kind of tuck out. Also note, if you need it, the live transcript function is down below. So if you need closed captions, please do click on that. But otherwise, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to pass everything over to our fantastic panelist, I guess. It's not a panel though, our workshop host, our amazing host, who is Nikki Arnell, who is also being joined by the amazing Natalie Tyree, who I've heard, she used the term guinea pig, but I don't know what you all have planned. So we will see what happens. But I'm just going to hand it over to you, Nikki, and please do take it away.
All right, thank you so much. And thank you all for being here today. And thank you, Natalie, for being my guinea pig. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Maybe. Okay, yeah, we're getting there. Hang on. And yay, everybody can see that okay, yeah? All right, good. Okay, well, my name is Nikki Arnell. I got my script here, even though I know my history here. I am teaching at Arkansas State University. I'm a city girl though, so I live an hour away in Memphis, Tennessee, but I still say, hey guys, you wanna go get some pop? I'm so from the North. So, but you know, did some time in Colorado, California, kind of been all over, but I've done a lot of advertising in my life before academia. So I teach that now still, advertising, branding, graphic design, that sort of thing. And somewhere in there, it was totally in Colorado, I got my yoga certification, and I started on this world to, we're not going to do any yoga asana today, but yoga and mindfulness and breathing and calming the hell down, you know, that's one way of putting it. So, and AIGA, you guys reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to present this? And I said, yeah. So that's my introduction. Okay. And Natalie will be joining with me today a little bit later. Natalie, if you, well, you can just hang out. You don't have to turn off your camera because we all have our cameras on, but you will be back with me later. Thank you for volunteering to be my guinea pig. All right. So by the way, before we start, have a chair. I hope you're not standing. You can also sit down for some of this when we get to it. And I'm going to be giving a presentation of it, what exactly mindfulness is first. And then about 30 minutes in, that's when we're going to do, that's the workshop part, the exercises. So you probably will want something to write with or on, but a computer is fine if you want that. This is a weird one. A small amount to eat or drink, whatever you're drinking is fine. Who knows what you're drinking, but you know, just a little bit something to eat, anything like that. That's going to be a little bit later for our mindful eating, and access to chat and Zoom, but you guys got that. Okay. So with that said, mindfulness. So what do I mean? It's a really trendy term right now. And also it's kind of confusing sometimes. Now, from what I'm explaining it, there are roots in Buddhism and other contemplative practices, but the tools that I'm giving you are secular and they come from cognitive psychology. So just so you know. And sometimes it does go by other names like mental health and wellness. So for example, my sister who teaches high school science, I was trying to explain to her mindfulness and she was like, what, you're going to bring yoga, what? And then I explained what I meant. She's like, oh yeah, we teach that at high school. It's called mental health. I'm like, oh, okay. Or a friend of mine who's putting an app together that's it's for wellness, and mindfulness is an aspect of it. So it's not so mindfulness. it's actually around. So no matter what you want to call it, mindfulness exercises are designed to train your brain to have focused attention and increased emotional regulation. That's what we're going to do. Mindfulness allows us to be reflective and not reactive. So this is what we're going to talk about today. The how is when we begin the exercises. So again, let me define that a little bit more with some more evidence here. What is mindfulness? For example, here's an article from 2012 from a professor of medicine. I love that. Bringing mindfulness meditation to medicine. Meditation isn't just for hippies anymore. And it's not all about saying, that is pretty cool though. But so it's becoming recognized. It has been for a while, which is why I mentioned a lot of if you are teaching college level, a lot of your students have probably had it. So, but I know it gets a little bit confusing. Here's different definitions of mindfulness. But I bolded some of the stuff that's going to keep coming up. Mental state, calmly accepting, present moment, non-judgmental, awareness of one's thoughts, that sort of thing. Now, another way of thinking about mindfulness is this. When we say be in the present, because worry and anxiety often live in the past that you can't change, or the future that you can't control. So that's part of what it is. But to be honest, you guys, that never quite worked for me. I mean, part of our amazing minds is that they are in 500 directions, and our students, like, you're in design, like your magic is abstract connections. Cool. Just tame the monkeys a little bit. That's what we're going to be doing. But so when people told me this, I thought, that's all? Have you met me? So I think this, it's more than that. Like I said, and this is a screenshot from the earlier thing, designed to train your brain to have focused attention and then increased emotional regulation. And it's not just saying, just focus on the present. That's not quite enough. So I think we're visual people. Here we go. I grabbed this image from online. So is your mind full, constantly right here, all above it? Or are you like your dog? It's like, trees and sunshine. So, but I understand that it's like, I can't trees and sunshine. I have a job. I have, I'm a parent. I have bills to pay, whatever. I get that. I get it. So this is more of what I'm thinking. You want to get out of it. You want to be able to separate and not be in your thoughts. Be able to see it and be there. And in fact, when you do that, you realize not only is it not so vivid and overwhelming, maybe some of it doesn't quite matter so much. Or as this really, really great TED Talk that I'll be linking in a Spark chat or Spark link at the end, mindfulness allows us to surf rather than drown. And besides, your dog's just thinking about squirrels anyway. So it's, So a little bit more, what if it's called wellness? For example, this is part of a Pfizer thing online, and also, yes, part of Pfizer online. And, if you Google wellness, they'll be like the 8 parts of wellness, the 6 parts of wellness, the 5. Oh, what? Whatever you want to put as part of it. The idea of wellness is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. And a key part of that is mindfulness. And it says right there, the more you tap into your own thoughts, the more you become aware of how you react to stressful events. So start practicing mindfulness today. So a little bit more, what mindfulness is not. It is not mindlessness. Now, I understand if you want to go down that path and you want to do some Buddhist meditation and you achieve nirvana, go you. Yeah. I haven't been able to do that. So it's actually, this mindfulness is hyper awareness of yourself, to be able to see, okay, all of that worry, that's because of that. I'm going to do some exercises, get a hold of that, be able to see it. That's really what this is about. But speaking of Buddhism and other contemplative practices, of course, mindfulness is part of many spiritual practices. But what I'm suggesting today, don't bring that into, especially if you're teaching at a secular institution, don't do it at all. Do not bring that verbiage in. So bring these tools, and I'm going to explain some ways to verbalize it. All right. And speaking of that, again, be aware of your verbiage about mindfulness. You are not trying to force students to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. These exercises are a toolbox backed by empirical, secular evidence to help one be a healthier and hopefully happier human. But don't start the cult of happy, at least not with your students. It's also not exclusive or hierarchical, so be careful about that. You're forming a community of individuals. If you're making this sort of like, oh, are you good enough at it yet? Are you going to get your certificate in mindfulness? Like you're not trying to earn a degree for your wall. Like, for example, I'm going to be leading you all in a practices today of mindfulness. I've been doing it longer, but I'm not better. I'm just inviting you onto a journey for yourself. It is also not a quick fix. So don't quit. This is for yourself and your own practice and yourself and your classroom. Don't quit just because you don't see effects right away. This is a long game. You'll see changes over time. And it has been reported in the research I've done by many teachers in all levels that the students who seem the least engaged are those who express gratitude at the conclusion of the class. Also for myself, as a practitioner of it, it wasn't easy at first because again, our minds are all over and they're glorious and wow. But learn to focus. Also, by the way, a quick fix implies that you're broken and you're not. All right. It is also not a surefire way to improve test scores. So don't, if you're going to try and get everybody on board in your institution, don't promise that. Now, the thing there is proven is that it helps students better with their focus. It helps students better with their mental health if they do it often, when they do it often, hopefully. But and we can obviously see the connections there that, well, then probably test scores, but I'm not promising anything. And the evidence hasn't shown direct proof of that. So, also, it is not a way to avoid uncertainty. We are not wrapping students up in this perfect little, nothing will ever upset you. I mean, education, especially college level, is about discourse, right? It's not going to this safe place where you can't consider. So, and this also goes for you every day in life, but I think you know that, lean into uncertainty. What does that feel like? But don't be surrounded by it. Don't be like, I can't get out. Curiosity about one's feelings. Why do I feel that way? That's so cool. And finally, on this, it is not a waste of valuable class time. I think it's an investment. That what I'm going to be suggesting is 3 to 5 minutes at the same time of every class. I'm a big fan at the beginning of class after attendance is taken, but that's not long. That's it. And it's very minimum to guide students. And speaking of guiding students, let's put it this way. Don't put on a YouTube thing for 3 to 5 minutes and then you grade papers. It's not the point. So who? You and your students. So first of all, you. First, you don't need much special training. I'm going to give you guys all you need today. But you should also try to practice it on your own. That doesn't mean you need to go have some yoga workshop in your house. Just while you're walking from your car to campus or something like that, just be mindful. And your students. And as I mentioned earlier, mindfulness is often taught in primary and/or secondary education now. So that means you will be reinforcing a concept and students will be familiar with the general idea. They're not going to be experts, or you're going to introduce a concept and they won't know about them and they won't be experts. And so the point is they will either not be experts or they won't be experts. Yeah. Now, if you have that one kid in class, that one kid who's like, I've been doing this my whole life. Cool. Have them lead the exercises once or twice. Great. Okay. I just want you guys to know that if you're thinking, there's no way I could do that, now you can. All right, so why? I mean, really, why should you be doing this stuff? And there are some citations of this in the Spark link that I will be providing at the end of class. But there is evidence for this: improved attention and focus, greater empathy and perspective taking, self-awareness, better social skills, reduced test anxiety, less stress in general, lower rates and severity of depression, which goes along for help for students dealing with trauma. By the way, about that last one, those of you who are teaching high school, you probably know this. Those of you who are teaching at the college level may not be aware that at least 1 in 4 students coming from high school, and this is before COVID, have experienced a traumatic event. That's a lot. And it doesn't have to be this huge, really dramatic thing. And by the way, never ask your students, that's not your business, don't re-traumatize them. But 1 in 4 students have experienced trauma coming into your classroom. And I said that was before COVID. And if they are in college, there's also proof that 20% have experienced trauma to the level that it has caused PTSD, so post-traumatic stress disorder. And I promise you, after COVID, that's more. So aside from mindfulness exercises in general, it has been proven that one way to help students with trauma, and I know you're going to hate this because you're going to be like, I never want my class to be the same every day. I want excitement. Be careful with that. Routine is really important in a trauma-sensitive classroom. Doesn't mean that everything has to be the same, but can you see that, especially at the beginning of class? Hello, welcome. And I mean an excited welcome. I'm so glad that you are here today. That matters more than you think. I'm so glad you're here today. I'm going to take attendance, and then let's just sit for a moment. Now we start class. It matters. All right, a couple other things that there is evidence. It minimizes the impact of bullying, because I mentioned earlier about being a little bit more aware of others' feelings. It does definitely help students with learning disabilities. They probably already have these tools. They'll be like, oh, I know what this is. And it benefits students who are training in careers with high emotion and stress. And what careers are we preparing our students for? And along with that, I mean, what happens when a student doesn't reflect and then talk to someone, instead just immediately reacts to a boss or a client with whom they're freelancing, right? So from that great TED Talk again, as she said, the harsh truth is that it doesn't matter how righteous and justifiable your emotions may be. It's irrelevant, because you will be judged based on your reactions and not your reasons. So students need to know this, especially the students we're training. Okay, a little bit more where and when, and we're getting to the how part. In the next section, I'm going to provide some exercises to easily add after you've practiced them yourself. Again, for that 3 to 5 minutes, sometime in class, I think the beginning. But make sure it's the same time every time you do it. And not once a month, not once a week, every time you meet. And by the way, I mean this for a design class or a studio class, or I'm doing it in my lecture for my art history class. Yeah. If you have a class that's entirely about mindfulness, obviously you should do more than 3 to 5 minutes. So remember, it's not a quick fix, drip feed. Also, don't start class by saying, first, I'm going to give you an hour lecture about mindfulness. Again, they probably already know what it is. And second of all, just breathe. I'm going to explain to you, like, just call it, we're just going to sit here for a moment and take a couple breaths. Cool. And again, be consistent. It's important to have a little bit of routine. It also helps them. It's going to be weird the first couple of weeks, and then they'll get used to it. Some people also say to do something like, oh, ring your little bell. Ooh, that doesn't work when I have my hand on the bottom, but here, let me do it. Oh, there it is, it's loud. But you could just be like, okay, and now, and that's your bell. And now we're going to breathe through that. And that's fine. All right. As I mentioned, 3 to 5 minutes. I think at the beginning, after attendance, after an enthusiastic greeting. All right. or another time that you want to, but make it the same time. I think the idea of doing it at the end of class might run out of time, and then you're rushing through it. You don't want to rush. And you do need to do the practice with them, preferably by leading it. If you have to put on a YouTube thing, that's fine, but you do it with them. That doesn't mean that you need to walk into the room with some meditation magic. It just means that you need to be excited too. You need to drink the Kool-Aid too. You need to be just as excited and on the journey with them. Remember, you're not better. You're both doing it. I just built my syllabi yesterday and finished it up. And for example, in my teaching methods, I've added that. There it is. They don't read the syllabus anyway, but it's there. All right. Let me see how we're doing on time. And let's see. I'm doing great on time. Oh my goodness. Okay. So finally, what was that?
Can I ask you a question? Because earlier you said that we could interact. So I would like to go back to your comment about routine.
Yeah.
Because it's interesting. All my life, I've been told to be the person who breaks the routine. And I mean that from a corporate standpoint, an educational standpoint. It's how do you help somebody see something from a different angle? I mean, even in my anthropology studies, it's about being the person that can do it differently. Now, the way that you mentioned this, I'm wondering, how have you tackled this idea that routine brings comfort? That's not what you said, but it's how I interpreted it. But then being able to teach a creative standpoint of, no, you don't want to be the person that does it the same, because your own voice matters. Right. And having an individual voice, routine, I've always thought, is the evil to the individual voice, because it standardizes a lot. And I was wondering if, maybe you saw, let's talk about it later because it'll ruin the session.
No. I can answer you right now real quick before we get into this. First of all, yes, I see. Yes, that is exactly. I'm like, routine? Are you kidding me? Like, no. First of all, it doesn't prepare students for a life that is not going to have any kind of routine. So I get that. I think that, and as far as the trauma-based classroom and needing routine, that's a little new to me also. In fact, I was kind of very surprised. I would say that just this little bit, just this 3 to 5 minutes every time, that routine's not a big deal. In fact, that's a good thing. You prepare and then the magic can begin. The other thing that I suggest, as far as if you want to have more than that in your classroom, maybe it's just a matter of general structure. Like, for example, the 3 to 5 minutes, you can do the exact same mindful exercise that I will show you every time. Or there's this you can do, or this you can do, or this you can do, but it's the same thing. This 3 to 5 minutes, we're going to just be here together. I'm so glad you're all here. I know you are, because I just took attendance. And then, and then, you calm the hell down together. And then you start learning. But as far as the rest of it, like I said, I think it's just a matter of having a general structure that I don't have the answers to. Sorry. Just, and I definitely suggest that all of you do a little bit more in finding that place where there's some structure to it, but maybe within the skeleton, you can have different cool guts. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for asking that. All right. And I knew that when I said that, all of my people here would be like, routine, you blasphemer. So, all right, now we're going to get a little bit more on the how, and then Natalie's going to come in, and I invite all of you to do this with chat. So with this, let me go ahead and click this. At the end, I'm going to give you a link to this Spark page, and there are going to be things like mindfulness exercises. There are some resources for teachers, and within here, things like what I'll be having screenshots of this on my slides today. So you can go back, especially when a lot of these have scripts, that you can go ahead and get in there and word as you want. Like, that's even got a video to how to sit. So there are lots of helpful things on there. Okay. So to begin that, I just want to remind you that mindfulness, you don't call it meditation, you're going to scare people. Maybe mindfulness scares people. Sometimes mindfulness people just think, well, that's just not being a butthead. Yes, that's good too. Don't be a butthead. But, you know, mental health, wellness, or just say, let's take a break, refocus, get ready to be together and learn. Maybe that's all you need to say. But don't be like, now you will learn mindfulness. Just some breathing. So, and again, this is on that Spark page. And I want to remind you that forcing a student to participate in any of these exercises in a class not intended for mindfulness should be avoided. But here's the secret. Say, I understand, that's okay. So why don't you go ahead instead, put all electronic devices away. You can make them do that. And say, you know, I want you to journal a little bit, or only doodle, only do something, only do this one thing for 3 to 5 minutes. Guess what? They're practicing mindfulness. Okay. Anyway, so that's available. All right. No matter what they're doing though, just, and you can, you know, just remember that you're trying to allow students to be reflective and not reactive. And if that means that they need to doodle instead of just breathing, that's okay. All right. Also, it's important to know that there are people who will have challenges and you should try to work with them. Remind people about like if they've had asthma or any trauma related to breathing, then be aware of that and don't re-traumatize them, don't ask them why, and find some other solutions. There is one where we won't do it today, but I will explain how to do standing or walking mindfully. Obviously, if someone has some problems with that, then you need to be aware of that before you bring that into the classroom. All right. But by the way, becoming bored or uninterested, that's not it. That is a challenge to overcome, but it's not an excuse. So, all right. We're going to start the mindfulness exercises. So everybody remember to just be present, I guess, be here. And I'm so glad all of you are here with me. And these are what we will be going through today. The things that are italicized, I will just introduce, but we won't actually be doing. So we begin with the breath. You know what's really handy? Until you die, you will always have that tool handy, your breath. And it is really, really handy to help you calm the hell down. So, and by doing that, you just calm down and bring that mindfulness, that gate to mindfulness. Because when part of that is concentrating on that one thing, well, you concentrate on the breath. All right. So, but a little bit, and this is also on Spark, you can tell students if you feel lightheaded at any time, just continue the breathing exercises. If you're standing and you need to just sit down until you're no longer lightheaded, just being aware of that stuff. Sometimes when people bring attention to the breath, I haven't had it happen, but I know that someone might hyperventilate. I don't think they would. Usually you're going to start yawning, and that's okay. All right. So the breath. Here we go. Natalie, you ready to practice? And everybody else is ready to practice too. All right. So this is the foundation and our first exercise. This is from the Spark. So you will all have this at the end. And, you know, getting in touch with your breath. There's no cues for any kind of special breathing. We're going to get to that. But this is just bringing your attention to the breath, stopping and concentrating only on that. I mean, oxygen helps us anyways, but it helps us. There's our thing to focus on. Instead of all the crazy and all that stuff, focus on that. And as it says to cue, bring your mind only to the breath, set other thoughts aside for now, and smile. So we're going to try this. Now, if you want to close your eyes, you can. You don't have to. But right now, whatever you're doing, I know you. I've been there. Right now, you're doing something else on your computer. I know. Stop it for a moment. Be here with me. I'm going to tell you a little bit more right now. I just want you to breathe and concentrate only on your breathing for 1 minute. If your mind has begun to wander, bring it back to your breath, in and out. Now let's all smile because somebody didn't check the sound that's going to be made at the end of that. I'll make sure to go forward before the siren goes off in the end. All right, so if you want to put in chat, you can, or right now, I'm just going to ask Natalie, how was that for you? Was a minute longer than you thought? Was it, what you think?
Yeah, it was like 30 seconds in, like I started feeling like tapping into like the mind wandering. And then, but I like, once I got quiet and really calm, I have really great white noise around me. I discovered I've got a nice little humming of my computer, which actually is really nice when you're just breathing and listening to the sound. So just tapping into things that you don't realize are happening around you was really weird to notice all that come together just in 1 minute. And then the siren almost gave me a heart attack. Other than that.
So sorry. I'm gonna be aware of that one in the next one. But yeah, that's just a minute usually is going to be, it either is going to seem like a long time. We're going to go longer, not too long, but thank you for your reactions. Okay. Now we're going to bring the body and mind together and sitting mindfully. Now, of course, if any of you, while I'm telling you this is how to have students and you to be able to sit on a chair. But if you are like, I'm used to this, I'm going to go sit crisscross applesauce on the ground, you go ahead and do that. But I'm going to show first, because it's for students too, about sitting on the edge of a chair. So, and this is part of Spark. The next step is to bring awareness of the body and mind working together. So first of all, when you're like this, you guys know you're not actually getting a whole lot of breath. When you're up, you're able to breathe more. And also, this is kind of crazy. Any of you guys who have done the yoga or the meditation, you know that there's this sitting at a sort of attentive mindfulness. Laying down makes you sleep. And this just isn't enough. So it's this sort of finding this position. So on sitting, and again, when on Spark, there's that video that links out to it, and there's this screenshot. So assuming you are sitting on a chair, move closer to the edge of the seating area and allow your feet to rest on the floor. If you're 5'2" like I am, I know that's hard, but hopefully your feet touch the floor. Rest your hands flat on the thighs, or you can rest them on your lap. Or if you've got a table in front of you, you can rest them on the table. And I'm gonna cue you through this when we do it. So that script, I'm going to talk you through it. So let me get to here. We're going to do this for 3 minutes. You don't have to close your eyes if you don't want to, if you are uncomfortable. I'm a big fan of closing eyes. So, but you do you. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get this started. Remember, you're sitting on the edge of the chair. Actually, let's get you started first of all. Sitting at the edge of the chair, like a thread is pulling out the top of your head. So not this. Thread is pulling out the top of your head. Your chin is parallel to the ground. And by the way, I know how you are. If you're like me, you're probably like this. Shoulders, no shoulder earmuffs. Maybe you're just gonna get all that out. Cool. Yeah. Whew. But remember, continue to have that thread pulling out the top of your head. Okay. If you want to close your eyes, go ahead. Now I'm going to start the timer. Maybe. There you go. So you're sitting here. Remember, continue to have that awareness of thread pulling out the top of your head. Your chin is parallel to the ground. Your shoulders are relaxing. Even if they keep creeping up towards your ears, that's okay. Exhale, push them back down. In fact, let's come back to that inhale and exhale. In and out, bringing your awareness to your breaths and your body. In and out. Remember, bring that chin parallel to the ground. The thread is out the top of your head. And if your mind is starting to wander, which is cool because you're human, just try to be like, okay, the thoughts are still there. I'm just going to put them over here. Just put them in a loving corner of your mind. You come back to the breath as you start to get used to working and not drowning in your thoughts. Being able to get away from them, almost like seeing them. There they are. Try to separating the feelings that go with it. Come back to the breath. Come back to making sure that thread is still pulling out the top of your spine, top of your head. Deep breath in, deep breath out. One more deep breath in. And your exhale, just smile. That feels good. All right. So, what was your experience? By the way, for any of you, if you want to put it in chat, you can. I can't see the chat right now, but or if you just want to record it on a piece of paper or think about it. Now I'm going to ask Natalie, how is that for you? How is 3 minutes?
It was awesome. I was able to check in with my body. It's like the more you get into it, you like feel, you're like, oh, this is what my shoulders are doing and how they feel. And this is how my hips feel. And so it was like nice to like check in with all areas of your body. And it's weird because for those 3 minutes, I wasn't thinking, like, when you focus on, okay, I'm doing this for 3 minutes, I wasn't thinking about anything else, like just nothing there. And it was lovely because we all, it's August. Most of us have plenty of things to be thinking about right now. So it was great just to go to that place for a minute. And I opened my eyes. I just felt really like mellow, I guess is the best way to describe it.
Well, see, that's what's so great, not only for you, but also for any of your students. It's just a matter of, and now we start class. It's kind of like, I don't know, mental mouthwash? Huh? I don't know. Yeah, just getting ready. Now, by the way, that is the minimum I'm suggesting you need to do. 3 to 5 minutes. That wasn't even 5 minutes, but 5 minutes is the most we're going to do together today. That's it. You guys, you just say, we're going to breathe together. Now I'm going to suggest some different things to do to build on that. And that's where the routine is there, the 3 to 5 minutes. But what you do, maybe after a couple of weeks, you build onto this other kind of breathing. So little by little. All right. There, just remind you, 3 to 5 minutes. By the way, for all of you here, please don't leave. I know right now you're thinking, I get it, I breathe. Okay, got it. Yep, let's go. I got stuff to do. If you are like that, believe me, I know you, I see you, you're preaching to the choir. Maybe that's why you need mindfulness. Just be here for a moment. When I first started practicing mindfulness, I got this ring to wear, and on the inside is just be, because I couldn't fit calm down. So just be here. So please don't leave. We're going to keep going. All right. Belly breathing. Now, for any of you who have ever done theater or singing, or any of you who are athletes, you know diaphragmatic breathing. All right. We're going to do that. It is just magical as far as getting deeper breaths. I mean, really, really good stuff. Because most of us only breathe up here. We breathe very shallow. I know there are not lungs in your belly. It's okay. So diaphragmatic breathing. And you're working with your diaphragm between your thoracic and abdominal cavities, moving stuff around. Just know you got deeper breaths. All right. So there is a script. I'm going to bring you through it, but there is a script on the Spark page if you need to bring students through it. That image is to let you know what I mean by belly breathing. Okay. This works really well when you're lying down, but it's going to work just as well when you are sitting up. So I'm going to walk you through it first, and then I'll let you sit and do it a bit. So you've got your hands, spirit fingers, and you are going to put a hand on your upper chest and a hand on your belly. You can't see it, but it's right here. So yeah. All right. First of all, exhale all of your air out. And then inhale. I bet this hand is moving and not the hand down here. I bet it's your hand up here. Okay, you're normal. But we're going to try to breathe even more deeply. So this time, you're going to, and by the way, if your shoulders are up here, don't forget to bring them down. Thread is pulling out the top of your head. You're sitting on the edge of your chair. Chin is parallel to the ground. I want you to do a little inhale and then exhale all of your air out. You're going to feel both where your hands are going down. This time, when you breathe in, try to make your belly big. I know that's weird. Try to make your belly big and then breathe. Kind of like the breath comes all the way up to here. And then exhale down. Your hands are still here. Exhale down. Pause. This time when you inhale, make that belly big first and then breathe in. It's going to feel real weird at first. Breathe in as much as you can. Inhale, inhale, inhale. And then exhale slowly, slowly, slowly. And that abdominal cavity comes in a little bit. Hopefully you're getting the idea. It's a little weird at first, but you are, like I said, you don't have lungs in your belly, but as soon as you push that belly out first, you're working your diaphragm. You're getting more air in. Okay. I'm going to start the timer. By the way, are there any questions before we go with this? And I can't see the chat, so somebody let me know if there are. Okay, here we go. So you guys know the rest of it. You can do you got to do the sitting. Remember, keep cueing yourself, thread up, chin parallel, shoulders down. If you want to have your hands here, you can. If you don't want your hands, you want to just rest them somewhere. Just be aware of your breathing. Your belly should be getting big on each inhale and then coming in on the exhale. Most of what's working is going to be below here. Okay. And close your eyes if you would like. All right, so you're sitting as you should be. Thread is pulling out the top of your head. Chin is parallel to the ground. Shoulders are away from your ears. Take whatever inhale you'd like, then exhale all of your air out, all of it, all of it, all of it. Then when you inhale, make that belly big as you're breathing in. And then it comes up, comes up, comes up, all the way into your shoulders. Pause and exhale slowly out, 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 all the way out, completely out, no more air. Pause. Keep doing that on your own, whatever time, however deep and long your breaths are. Work on that. Just remember, it's your body and your breaths. Remembering that even part of this is also doing an absolute exhale, an absolute inhale. Just that alone should just make you feel so much better. Remember to have that thread pulling out the top of your head. Chin is parallel to the ground. Shoulders are relaxed. Another deep breath out and deep breath in. Thread is pulling out the top of your head. Go ahead and smile. Smiling feels good. Feel those cheeks. Smile. And if you're like, I don't want to smile, I feel silly. Silly is awesome. All right. So, how was that for you, Natalie? Have you done belly breathing before?
I don't think so. I've done breathing exercises, but I don't think I've ever done that one before, especially to that extent. It's nice you actually feel the breath like coming all the way up, and then halfway through for me kind of went on autopilot, and I wasn't like focusing on, oh, okay, I gotta poke my belly out, but I could feel it just breathing. And every time we settle into this, I can see where the routine, or at least trying to do it like at the same time whenever, because just even doing it repeatedly now, it's like your body knows, and each time you ease into it, I felt like I get a little bit more relaxed each time I ease into it. So maybe I will not ignore my Apple Watch when it wants me to breathe every day now, maybe.
Yes. Apple does a great job of, reminding you those things. Yeah. And that's a great point too. For those of you who are still with me, you understand that it's doing it a little at a time. So anybody who left after the first and thought, yeah, I got it. Like, no, you don't. Like, keep going. All right. We're going to do 2 more kinds of the breathing, and that's going to be our first column. After the, so this is 4-7-8 breathing. This 4-7-8 breathing business, this is especially good if you want to go to sleep, which we're hopefully not going to do before class. But it's just one of those things that are a little bit more structures instead of just breathe for a while. Like this has a count to it. And then the breath 2.0 in this column is we're going to do the longest. And then I'm definitely going to open up chat and see how everybody's doing. Okay. So 4-7-8 breathing. Get to my stuff here. And this is from Spark. Again, you've got the script. And it's the in and out. Now, if you want to, you should have the sitting with it. You're never just slouching, sitting with it. If you're on your own or you have clean floors at school, you can lay down, but just sitting. And then as far as the exact kind of breathing this goes with it, it can be normal breathing, it can be belly breathing, it can be however you want to do it. So what we're going to walk this through, and you can do this while I'm saying it, is that first you empty the lungs of air, and then you breathe in quietly through the nose for 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. But do it for 8 seconds. That's it. And then you repeat it as many times as you wish. So again, it's the same breathing, 3 minutes, but it gives it a little bit more of a structure. Okay. And as usual, only concentrate on the breath. The counting will really make you concentrate on the breath, but how it's also affecting your body. And if the mind wanders, just lovingly pull it back to the breath. Okay. So, we don't have a timer. We have this on here. I'm just going to walk you through it about 3 times together, and I'll just let you do it for a little bit longer. Okay. There's even moving things. All right. So find your seating however you want to be. Thread is pulling out the top of your head. Chin is parallel to the ground. Shoulders are relaxed. Rest your hands in a comfortable position. Close your eyes if you'd like. So first, empty the lungs of air, all of it out. Now breathe in quietly. Inhale for 4 seconds. 2, 3, 4. Full air. Hold it. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep going. 6. Keep going. 7, 8. Pause. Now inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale all of it out slowly. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time together. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Big inhale, and then hold it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale slowly. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you keep doing it on your own. A couple more times. 4, 7, 8. Breath. Let's give you a couple more times. All right, wherever you are, take one more inhale. And then exhale and smile. Feel how that is to smile. It's a good feeling. All right. So that is definitely, you can tell how when you're just trying to calm your mind down and you want to go to sleep, or you're trying to calm your mind down and you need more structure. That's got to count for you. And again, that's one of those where if you want to bring that into your class, it's still that 3 to 5 minutes. That's another thing to do. And you're giving another tool to your students. Natalie, how was that for you? Did you like the counting?
That one, it was a little hard holding it in. It's like, oh, I've really got to think about this and hold this in. I've done like, especially like if I'm laying in bed and can't sleep, I've done the where you breathe in for the same amount that you breathe out before. And that one helps too, but I can see where this one really makes you focus and like tunes everything, because just concentrating on holding those breaths really was a little bit of a challenge, but it felt good.
That's good. That's good. And that challenge is also, then you're thinking about it and it's helping the student. Now, if you want to do the whole, the same time in and out, that's another way to do it. It's totally fine. You're still making people mindful of it. And that's good. That is definitely one though, where you should be aware for students, if they're out there, or for yourself, that if they can't hold the breath, they're not failing. That's okay. It's just and maybe that's where the same count, inhale and exhale might be better, but there's definitely the exhale all of your air out and pause when you've inhaled all of it. So make sure you've got either end of that to be there. All right, I hope you're all still with me. We're going to do one more. This is like the breathing exercise, and then we're going to totally take a break and chat and see what's going on. Okay. The breath 2.0. It's like extreme breathing. Yeah. All right. So for those of you who have practiced yoga, this is ocean breath. Sometimes it's called victorious breath. Let's put it this way. It's also called snake breathing, whispering breathing, or snoring breathing. So it's going to have some sound, that's why you wouldn't want to do this the first time with your students, but like midterm when you need a laugh at each other, not that you're not making fun of it, but it's a little something different, and you're comfortable around each other then. And it's also really good for breathing. In yoga practice, you do this especially while you're doing the moves, but you just do it while you're meditating or something, or just sitting or waiting in line at the grocery store for that person who is taking too long. All right. So it's yogic ujjayi pranayama. Pranayama are the breathing techniques, but again, it's about constricting slightly. It's weird, I know, the back of your throat, in addition to belly breathing, in addition to sitting. And you can take, seriously, you guys, you can take ridiculously long breaths in and out, and you make a funny noise. So here's the general guidelines, and it's on Spark, but I also have this video on Spark, because this is how I would try to explain to people in practice, or someone explained it to me the first day, and I was like, constrict my throat, what do you mean? It took me a long time to figure out what they meant. And then I found this video. So the video is on that Spark page. I'm just going to explain it to you because the sound is not great, and I can show you what it is. Okay, so belly breathing, how to sit. Now I went on your own. I want you to, I'm going to explain how to constrict your throat. Imagine you're fogging up a mirror and feel what's going on in your throat. right? So what you're going to do is fog up that mirror and then close your mouth and inhale with that same constriction. So I don't know if you can hear that. I'm making funny noises, but also this business I was doing with my hand, that was a quick inhale. I can easily inhale for like at least 10 seconds doing this. And it's cool. And it helps you to calm down because you know what you're going to be concentrating on? That sound and the sound and what your body's trying to do. So everybody try that, try this to constrict your throat. And then close your mouth and then try to inhale with that same constriction. And then you can exhale with your mouth open again, or you can keep it constricted, whichever way you'd like to go. Remember, while you're doing that, you're working on that belly breathing. You're sitting the correct way so you can get all the air in and not slouching. All right. And as you're doing this, aside from being able to laugh at yourself at the ridiculous sounds you're making, it's also try to get those breaths longer. Exhale all of your air out with that constricted, all of it out. Then inhale, making your belly big as you're keeping that constriction. Inhale as much as you can, as slowly as you can. Pause, exhale. Going in and out. I'm so surprised none of you are yawning. That's so cool. See, you guys are experts. Everybody yawns when they first begin. So, all right. Now remember, this is going to be the longest one that we practice together. I'm going to go for 5 minutes. I want to remind you while you're doing this that you are going for mindfulness. It allows us to surf rather than to drown, because I bet at about 3 minutes, you're going to start to get used to that and your mind's going to start to wander. You're going to think of all the stuff you need to get done today. That's cool, but not yet. Put it over here lovingly and get back to this. Okay, so I'm going to guide you a little bit with it. I'll try to have you guys go on your own. So find your seated place. Oh, and as a reminder, whatever happens is okay. Just notice, let it be, let it go. Okay. You're not trying to win mindfulness. All right. So here we go. So everybody's finding your place to sit. Your chin is parallel to the ground. Thread is pulling out the top of your head. Just do a normal inhale and exhale first. And this time, I want you to exhale all of your air out. And as you're doing that, constrict that passageway and then breathe in. Go for as long as you can, as long as you can, as long as you can. When you get to as much as you can, you're going to pause, then exhale, keeping that constricted throat, slowing it down, being aware of your belly. When you have no more air to get out, you pause and you inhale again. That belly gets big. You constrict your throat. The belly gets more air in. The constriction makes it so you can go like super long breaths. Maybe you're making a weird noise. Some people are louder than others. You can probably hear it though in your own head. Hopefully your breaths are able to get longer and longer. You're becoming more aware of the end points to get all of the air out and all of the air in, all of it that you can with that belly breathing. Now while you're doing this, that thread is pulling out the top of your head. Your chin is parallel to the ground. Your shoulders are relaxed. I bet while you were concentrating on them, they got a little bit tense. That's okay. Relax. Think about every time you're doing that inhale. It's like you're just filling yourself up with this warm, wonderful light. And you're just powering up at your heart center. And when you exhale, it's just going all out through your body. Oh, that's wonderful. Take any of the icky stuff with it, just all of it out. Then you inhale back, and it's all just good and wonderful and calm. Remember, if your mind starts to wander, that's okay. Just say, I'll be right with you in just a moment, my thoughts, my wonderful thoughts. I want to be here, separate from them, right here in this moment, in this place. Breathing. Wherever you are, do one more deep breath in and deep breath out and smile. All right. Oh, you're rolling around a little bit. Oh, yeah. Okay. First of all, Natalie, how was that?
That was nice. I think putting it all together like that, eased into that one better than the 7-4 one. That one's like really, like once you focus on the breathing, like the breathing gets a little smoother too. It's interesting. I've got some sinus things going on today, so there's some interesting sounds happening over here. I'm glad I was on mute.
Yeah. You had the snotty ocean breath.
Yeah, little rattly, but yeah, that was really nice.
That was great. Do you all want me to stop my share and chat about it, or do you want me to just keep on going? I see that we're at an hour. Do you want me to just keep on going? What do you want to do, everybody? Do you want to talk about it? I can't see chat, so, or can I? I can.
We got a little quiet. I think everybody's in a happy place.
7, 8 is harder for sure. Okay. That's okay. So people are doing their thing. If anybody wants to, but if you are in it, then that is totally cool. You do not need to chat, and that's okay. We're gonna keep on going. Just, I guess my main thing is to reflect at the end of each of these. And not only for yourself, but also think, oh yeah, this is good to bring into the classroom. That, same time every time. That was 5 minutes. That was a long time. That was the longest I suggest you take of your class to do this. All right. So
I had a thought here, Nikki. Thank you.
Hi.
You know what? I'm such a kinetic person and just a holistic body person that I really found using my hands was so natural with breathing, right? So you inhaling, I just naturally, and then, right. But actually I'm doing it on the Zoom screen, but I'm standing and doing it, sorry, off the chair, breaking the rules, but as a holistic thing. I know it's a little more towards yoga, but it makes so much sense to have the breathing in like being aware of your entire space as your body fills the space and coordinating with your breathing, I think was really, really helpful to coordinate just naturally, just hand exercises.
I think that is a wonderful addition. In fact, I'm going to use that in my class. Just something as simple as the hands up and down. Yes. And I can tell, yeah, with the yoga, by the way, all of you, if you're really into this, you should try yoga. And the point of this is to breathe with the physical movements. All those yoga asana that you do in the physical forms, they are a moving meditation, because you know what you're thinking of the whole time, your breath and your movement. So yes, Rachel, what you were saying, just being fully aware of how your body and your breath move together. Yes. And though I can't have my students do yoga in the beginning of my design class, just that extra addition of the hands. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go on. We're going to go on to the next bit. Now this adds some visualization, and I started to add some to you during that breath 2.0, Ujjayi pranayama, which was just that light coming in and out. That's what this is going to add. So color breathing, I'm going to get, and body scan are both very much about that. In fact, I'm going to just go through the color breathing. I'm just going to show you the script. I'd rather read the body scan with you, and I don't want to run out of time. So color breathing, since I kind of explained that to you while you were doing your breathing in the last one, remember you add that to whatever you're sitting and sit and breath, no matter what, is the basis of all of this. If they want to do the breathing as belly breathing, if they want to do the breathing as the breath 2.0, they can do that. The color breathing just adds a visualization to it. This is really good for visual people. And the idea of mentally picturing on a color that represents how you want to feel, have them set that at the beginning. And then what you want to let go of in your life is usually the complement. We can teach complementary colors, or maybe it's just a muddy color. Maybe it's just a muddier version of that color. And the script is, you begin with the breath technique, think of a favorite color that brings a calming sensation, whatever that is for that person. The more specific, the more mindful one begins to be by picturing its flowing nature. Don't cue liquid though, I'll explain why at the end. Flowing. Now imagine yourself bathed in the color of your choice. As you breathe in, imagine the color entering your solar plexus, or just say your heart, and spreading throughout your whole body. As you breathe out, the muddier color or the complement is leaving your body. The good in, the bad out. And you have a visualization with the breath. It's another thing to do. Maybe this week we'll do color breathing, but it's based on everything you did before. All right. We're going to, and usually would do that, remember, not too long. And we're going to do the body scan next. All right. So this one, any of you who have practiced yoga, this is what you're going to do in Shavasana at the end, corpse pose, when you try not to fall asleep. Yeah, that one. So this one we're going to do while sitting, not laying down. And you can add visualization if you'd like. The script has that in it, a suggestion. That's what I will be doing today, but it's going through every single part of the body. This might take longer than 3 to 5, well, 5 minutes, you can do it. Remember to cue, and this is part of Spark, your script is there, cue to pay close attention to any area of the body that causes you pain or discomfort. Pause and breathe more deeply into that area as you work to relax it even more. That's a yoga term. Breathe into it. And people are like, what are you talking about? It means all the muscles that are connected to that muscle, relax those too. Relax. All right. So the script is here. I'm going to walk you through it though. Oops. It's a long script, but it's just because it's going through your whole body. So I'm going to walk you through this. I'm not going to walk. I'm going to sit you through this. All right. So first you find your place. You're sitting. If any of you are in your room and you want to lay down, you can, but you're sitting down, thread is pulling out the top of your head, chin is parallel to the ground, hands are resting in a comfortable position. Come back to your breath, inhale and exhale. Remember, your breath is the power to do all of this, to relax. That's what's going to bring your awareness. Do whatever version of breathing you want, just normal breathing, or that deeper belly breathing, or that ocean breath, that breath 2.0, whatever you would like. Okay. So imagine that you have this warm, beautiful ball of light. It's going to start right above your head. And then it's going to come down over your head. And as you're breathing in and out, that color is surrounding you and it's relaxing you. Start at the top of your head. Relax the area on your forehead. That's kind of weird. Now relax your eyebrows. I don't know if you can relax your eyeballs, but give it a try. And go down your ears. Maybe you were holding tension there. I bet your jaw is holding some tension. Let it go. Let it go. Yeah, I see some of you moving it around. That's right. Let it go. All right. Deep inhale and deep exhale, relax it. Let's go down a little further, down the neck. Is your neck holding some tension? Let it go, let it go. And we go down the shoulders, which are hopefully relaxed. I've mentioned to let it go. Now I know you are sitting attentively. So if you want to relax that spine, you can, or you can keep it there in a parallel way and just kind of like washing over your spine and relaxing everything else around it. Is your stomach tight? I know if you're doing the belly breathing, it's kind of weird to relax it while you're doing that, but just see if you can relax anything that isn't being used right now. Go down. Can you relax your belly button? I don't know, but give it a try. Relax anything around there. Everything before it is relaxed. If there's tension going back in, take a breath and say, hey, remember how we said to relax? Relax. Let's go to your hips. Maybe I don't know, I relax and my legs are kind of like become floppy jelly when I relax my hips. Let that go. Relax there. Then go down your thighs. Inside your thighs, outside your thighs, your quads, your hamstrings, any place. Deep inhale, that light becomes bright. Exhale, it surrounds and relaxes. And you get to your knees. I don't know if we can hold tension in our kneecaps, but inhale, exhale, relax those. As soon as you relax your knees, it goes down your calves. And also just any part of that, your shins, any place. If you're holding tension there, relax it, relax it, relax it. Yeah, remember every place before is relaxed. It goes to your ankles, down to your feet. Can you relax your toes? Maybe you wiggle them first and then relax. And that ball of light is there. And it kind of washes all of anything that was icky in your body. It's leaving, going out. Do a deep exhale. Then on an inhale, bring that light back up through your body a little bit more quickly, relaxing any place else that was tense. And now you're bringing light and lightness and happiness up through and back over the top of your head and anything going out. And surrender and smile. Deep inhale, deep exhale. That's good stuff. Where you didn't even know that you were holding tension in your index finger. I mean, come on. Good stuff. Breathing in and breathing out. Can you imagine that? Like one time right before midterms with your class, you're like, let's do this. You know what? I bet people are going to be smiling. That's a good thing. And it just calms you down. And again, if you really like that, you should try some yoga. All right. So what was your experience, Natalie?
I've done a body scan before, but not quite like that one. I had an app that I had before that like led me through a body scan. But yeah, it's funny because every time I don't do it a lot, but when I do, it's weird where you realize like, oh, I've got tension in my fingers and in my jaw. Like it's weird that usually you think, oh, I'll hold my tension in my shoulders or my back. And I totally do, but it's weird to really check in with your body and be like, oh, I might need to, like crack my fingers or wiggle my hands sometimes just to, check in with myself. And I also found myself like, wiggling my toes and my feet, but just putting my hands to the side and like just kind of loosening it up a little bit helped a lot too, just throughout the whole thing.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, see, good, 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 good. All right. And by the way,
So-
I know, oh, please. Yeah.
So yeah, Nikki, I was going to say we only really
15
have
minutes.
about 10 minutes left.
10.
So
Okay. Well, then I'm
Yeah.
going to walk through this. I knew I was going to run out of time.
okay,
That's
yeah, because I
okay.
would also love for a little bit of space for people if they do have questions, right?
Yeah.
Especially about bringing this into the classroom. So, I mean, if you had one more that you wanted to make sure you introduced to us, please. But I just want to remind you of time.
I'm going to introduce 5 senses and mindful eating. We're not going to do that together. List of gratitude we're going to do. And then, okay. So 5 senses. This is another one of those where you can count down, but it's important that you do count it down. This is the script. And so it's 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste. And you walk people through 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's a great thing to do with your students, a great thing to do with yourself. And mindful eating is another great one if you want to bring it into your students. Everybody likes a treat. Come on. Now there is some guidance on Spark, which is don't tell students to bring something in because they will either forget or some students don't have the disposable income to bring something else in and you don't want to show that. So you bring something, and if you bring something, you got to come with gloves. So, you know, unless it's wrapped. So be aware of that. Have hand sanitizer for students to wash their hands off first. So doing that. And it's really the great way to introduce this is when was the last time you did something while doing absolutely nothing else? Nothing else. So that's what mindful eating is. It's also really good to make us a little bit all healthy with our eating habits. And so there's the script and it guides you through it. Look at the food, feel the food, smell the food, pick up the food, swallow it. What's it doing? Okay, easy. You guys got that idea. It's all on that Spark. Walking mindfully and standing mindfully. Again, there's guidance on that. Walking is a little bit harder. If you're in an enclosed space, don't go in a circle. People will fall down. Outdoors is easier. You know, encourage the students like as you're leaving to go out to your next class. And if it's hard to be, remember, doing that one thing, you're not walking in a funny way. You're not doing a silly walk, even though Monty Python is in my head now. But, you know, like maybe it's something like blossoming footsteps. Every time you take a step and it's intentional, a flower blooms. Something that if you need that visual guide. And it's not just walk, it's mindful walking. All right. Standing is the same idea. It's kind of like sitting, but standing. That's all. The same kind of very similar script. Being careful that when people do that, sometimes when they're doing that and they're not used to it, they might fall down. So be careful with that one in class. 10 mindful movements actually comes from Thich Nhat Hanh and Buddhism. This is actually this is used a lot in primary and secondary schools. There's a video, it's all there on Spark for you. I knew we wouldn't get into that. That's more than 3 to 5 minutes. These require no prescribed physical activity. We're gonna do one together. The list of gratitude. This, I promise you, you should all be doing this. It's why thankfulness is part of almost every contemplative practice. I mean, the big stuff is important, but you're probably going to be thankful for oxygen tomorrow too, you know. So it's the little things, and you make a list, and not in your head, but on paper, something. Maybe you're going to chat about it right now. You take it, and the script is on Spark. You take a deep breath and relax. Be in the moment. Above your thoughts, you're inspecting them, not mindless. List at least 5 things for which you are thankful for today. So go ahead and put that in the chat. And here's a friend of mine on Facebook does this all the time. So I'm going to read through some of those while you're thinking. She's got like clean laundry, a meaningful conversation, cool breezes, spectacular thunderstorm with lightning, the sound of rain waking me up from a restful sleep. For this bounty, I give thanks. Or the plum tree's first blossom, clean sheets, fresh chives and basil from my garden for salad, music, evening breezes to cool my space. Patience rewarded by the moonrise over tree lines, the person who associated me with bravery, the stranger who associated me with beauty, the mostly blind neighbor's dog who was happy to be pet. You know, that sort of thing. Just 5 things to be thankful for. I'm going to bring up my chat, maybe. Well, if you guys are just writing it down, that's cool too. If you want to put it in chat, you can. You don't have to. But We're going to go a little bit longer. Oops. Hopefully, I know we're running out of time, so hopefully you got that list. You guys, I promise you, if you just want to, for yourselves, calm down a little bit every morning, sit down, breathe a little bit, write what you're thankful for, the little things, and carry on with your day. Thought circles are another thing that I'm not going to, or thought clouds, and that's on Spark. Sometimes if people don't understand what you mean by visualizing, like getting out of your thoughts, sometimes if you draw them, people get it more. Like, oh, it's a thought cloud. One more thing. Just be all there in any daily activity, eating, drinking, reading, taking a warm bath, wiggling your toes, standing at a door before you enter a building, hugging your best friend, breathing in the fresh, warm air after a thunderstorm, smiling, really smiling and feeling it, grabbing the hand of the person you love, whatever it is, be all there in that moment. And that's the gateway to mindfulness. So I will put this link in chat as soon as I'm done talking. It's, by the way, if you use a QR reader though, remember to then open it up into the whatever web you're on. It's got all of that. It's also got some resources in there. Like for example, things like that TED talk that I promised you. Oh my gosh, watch it. She's amazing. There's a Balanced Educator podcast. They talk a lot about, for example, that trauma sensitive classroom and stuff like that. Some of those articles. And that's some information about me. I'm going to get out of my share so I can put that link in, oh, maybe I can. I'm going to put that link into chat. I'm also open for any questions that anybody has.
So we can probably, yeah, spend a few minutes. I know David had a question that I want to make sure we got to. So if anybody does need to tuck out, please do. We could probably run, yeah, we could probably run a few minutes later. And yes, Nikki, that was amazing. So thank you so much. I feel so like calm. I think that's the most oxygen my brain has gotten in a really long time. So that's good. Although I'm feeling a little floopy. But to get to David's question really quickly, because I think it's a really important one, he mentioned, is it possible to touch upon this term, this use of the term mindfulness, and talk about this in connection to our discussions around appropriation and kind of this legacy of, he says, white decoupling of the spiritual origins within Buddhism. So kind of thinking about how we're thinking about those things in our classroom and how a lot of these concepts kind of began, in the 60s and the 70s as a sort of pulling away, right, from other cultures. So I don't know if you had any thoughts about that, but I think it's a really important thing to kind of discuss in terms of all of these things we're talking about for inclusion. So just your thoughts.
That is a great point. And I love that. I mainly love it because it's giving me more of my own courage to be like, no, give credit where it's due. So I appreciate that. I just get worried about coming to a secular institution and you're going to get a lot of pushback. I teach in the Bible Belt. I'm going to get a lot of pushback if I bring in Buddhism. So instead I say something like, Buddhism or other contemplative practices. And I invite students, if they would like to know more, that I am there. And I have all sorts of information that I can give them. But I don't come into it. I come into it with I know by calling it secular is a safe way of saying the institution as it is, which is not diverse. I get that. It's just that I want you to go into this with as few obstacles as possible. But that's such a good point. So yeah, invite questions from students and then give them the information. But I'm up for suggestions from all of you. What do you think? I don't know.
And David, I don't know if David, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to add to that. I probably did a terrible job bringing up your question, or if anyone else, has any thoughts.
That's okay if nobody has thoughts. And if any of you want to have a conversation outside of it, like I said, I would love to have suggestions. So that's my way of figuring it out right now.
Well, and David said in the chat, maybe you don't call it mindfulness. Maybe there's another term, and maybe also it's just sort of bringing this up, right? Saying, okay, people call it this, but it can be problematic, right? There's this whole legacy of this term being used. And, I find I do that a lot with my students in the classroom. Well, I'll bring something up and then just sort of point out to them, hey, there's all sorts of implications to this. There's all sorts of ways in which this is problematic that you need to be aware of and kind of thinking about, right? That criticality.
Oh, so I guess I misunderstood that. So what is being said is why calling it mindfulness and bringing the students into it. So for example, for that aspect, it's calling it, as I mentioned, call it wellness, call it mental health. But if you're saying, I don't know if that's a matter of saying, call it that because it is, or if you're saying why you should not call it Ujjayi pranayama, or is that why you should call it? You should say that's where it comes from. I don't know. What are you saying? Which way should I go? I don't know. What do you think, David and others?
I was saying reflective time. You just said hey, we're going to take some time to reflect and to breathe.
Right. Yeah. I'm definitely suggesting you, as I mentioned in the talk, don't come into it saying, this is what Buddhism is, or, oh my God, I would be shut down in 5 seconds where I teach, right. Especially when I force students to do it. But yeah, that was right away. Don't call it meditation. Maybe you don't even call it mindfulness. Wellness, mental health, or as you said, just take a break to breathe, come back to where we are so we can learn better.
Yeah, and there's some great thoughts in here. Lishan had some, just talk about it. It's just, you're doing a practice. You're taking a moment. It's breathing and stretching, right? It's under the umbrella of more of those cognitive, right, neuroscience kind of things, the physical things. So yeah, I think that's a really great point. So we do need to wrap up soon, but Rochelle, please do, if you have a quick question, but let's be quick because Alberto we need to get into our next session and take a break. But Rochelle, go.
Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, I just put it under art therapy exercises, like art and wellness integration. So I literally do design, art, practice, wellness, / as an umbrella term as well.
Good. Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Thank
awesome.
you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. And I'm around. I can put my information in the chat, but I think we're done. I think we're done now. You guys got to go get ready for the next group, and I will see you all in that next talk. I'm so excited.
Yeah.